One of the things that I like to discuss, as you will probably receive many questions about these from homeowners, is the snakes of Florida. We have two types of snakes in Florida in broad categories, and those would be venomous and non-venomous. Throughout Florida, we have 49 snake species, 4 of which are non-native. 35 species can be found in our area in Central Florida. Of the 35 species in our area, only 4 species are venomous. These include the eastern diamondback rattlesnake, the dusky pygmy rattlesnake, the coral snake, and the cottonmouth or water moccasin. In the northern areas of our state, there are 2 additional venomous snake species, the timber rattlesnake and the copperhead. There are visual differences between venomous and non-venomous snakes. Non-venomous snakes, such as the water snake pictured on the top, have a rounded snout, a single nostril, and round pupils. The head is triangular, but where it meets the neck is not broad. Venomous snakes, represented here by the cottonmouth, tend to have a pointed snout, an elliptical pupil. In addition to their nostril, they will have a heat-sensing pit, with the exception of the coral snake, which is our only non-pit viper. And where the head meets the neck is typically very broad. If you receive calls from homeowners who have concerns about snakes in their property, it's important that you note that snakes are important to the environment. They are a natural deterrent or help with the reduction of other garden pests. In general, snake behavior is predictable. They do not strike unless cornered or threatened. If there are snakes visiting a landscape, it's likely because there is available food for them. Many of Florida snakes are small, less than 12 inches in length at full adult length, and eat insects. If you have problems with snakes related to birdhouses, with them consuming eggs or chicks before they fledge, the impact can be reduced by installing what's called a baffle. A baffle is a sheet typically of aluminum or tin placed around a pole or tree where a birdhouse is mounted, at least 18 inches wide on all sides, placed in a downward funnel shape that deters animals like snakes from being able to climb up and into the birdhouse. Many local snake species are fossorial, meaning they live primarily underground and are likely to only be seen in the morning or evening. While in the garden, it's possible to avoid run-ins with snakes by making your presence obvious and also by reducing cool and damp spots in your yard. You may be able to prune your plants up to a height that makes them less attractive for snakes to enter for hiding spots. Many of the snakes in the state of Florida are threatened with extinction. This is a picture of, on the left-hand side of your screen, an eastern diamondback rattlesnake. To the right is the dusky pygmy rattlesnake. We're going to go through quickly and ID some of the species for you so you can just get a broad sense of what they look like. On the top left is the cottonmouth snake. On the bottom right is the coral snake. If the tip of the snout is black, it indicates that it is a coral snake. Typically, king snakes, the Scarlet Kingsnake, which is also native to Florida and similar in appearance to the coral snake, will have a red tip on the end of its snout. These are the 2 venomous snakes that are found in North Florida. On the left-hand side is the copperhead. On the right-hand side is a picture of a timber rattlesnake. We have many species in Florida that appear to be venomous or look like other venomous species, but in fact are not venomous. These are some of the snakes that are currently threatened and endangered. Starting from the left, we have an eastern hognose snake. At the center is a southern hognose snake. And on the top right is actually a juvenile Plaque Racer. Many juvenile snakes have different color patterns than their adult forms. Not only does the Plaque Racer look very similar to a venomous rattlesnake, if it's threatened, its first line of defense before biting is to shake its tail against brush or loose substrate, which produces a rattling sound. Here are some other examples of snakes that appear very similar to venomous snakes. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of the snout of this snake on the left, but that is a Scarlet Kingsnake. And on the right-hand side is a banded water snake, which appears very similar to a water moccasin. Again, notice the rounded eyes. On the top left is a pine snake, one of the increasingly more rare snakes of our area. Pine snakes belong to a group of snakes known as bull snakes or king snakes and are known to consume venomous snake species. On the bottom right-hand side is a gray rat snake. Many of the snakes in Florida have an adult size of less than 12 inches. The ringneck snake is the beautiful, colorful snake on the left here, and the Florida crown snake is on the right. Some other small snakes that are common to home gardens are the eastern garter snake on the top left, the brown snake on the top right, and the red-bellied snake at the center on the bottom. Two of the larger species of non-venomous snakes that are commonly found around homes and landscapes are the yellow rat snake and red rat snake. Both of these snakes can grow up to lengths of 6 feet. Here are examples of some of the other king snakes of Florida. The snake on the left may look very much like a green mamba or some sort of venomous snake, and they do typically open their mouth and expose the blackish interior when threatened. This is known as a green vine snake, and it is completely non-venomous. On the right-hand side is one of the most common snakes of Florida, the Plaque Racer. Here you see on the left-hand side a picture of a coach whip. On the right-hand side, an eastern indigo. Here are two examples of other water snakes. This is an adult banded water snake on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, a brown water snake. Two less common snake species, crawfish snake and the mud snake. Then we have some animals in Florida that are not snakes at all, but in fact species of lizards that are legless. Over the last decade or so, we've identified several snake species in Florida that are becoming increasingly common. Most of these are isolated to South Florida near the Everglades. On the left is a red tail boa, common in the pet trade. These typically grow up to 8 feet in length. On the right-hand side at the top is a reticulated python. These are the most common invasive snake species currently being found and trapped in the Everglades. These can grow to lengths of up to 20 feet. On the bottom right is a rock python, very similar behavior-wise and length, adult length, to the reticulated python, also currently being found in the Everglades. At the bottom is actually a smaller invasive snake species called a Brahminy blind snake. These were thought to be brought into Florida through agriculture and the importation of plants. They're very small, a couple inches long, and can typically be found in planter pots. Just for fun, we're going to test your ID skills. Can you guess the species of these two snakes? Here's a hint. It's two color variations of the same species. Did you guess southern hognose snake? Can you name this snake? Here's a hint. One is a juvenile, the other is an adult of the same species. Did you guess Plaque Racer? This is two pictures, again, of the same snake. One is curled up, one is stretched out. Can you guess if this is venomous or non-venomous, and the name of this snake? Did you guess non-venomous banded water snake? Do you recall the species of snake that this is, and how you can identify it as non-venomous compared to its venomous counterpart? This is a picture of a Scarlet Kingsnake, and if you look at the end of its snout, it's red in color as opposed to black. The coral snake, its venomous counterpart, has a black snout. I hope that you enjoyed this brief session on the snakes of Florida.